Plane crash that killed 3 members of an Atlanta gospel group. The Nelons were flying to Alaska in July to perform on a cruise when their plane went down.
For decades, Bill Gaither has been a voice of faith, hope, and comfort for millions around the world. Through powerful songs and unforgettable performances, he helped shape gospel music into something timeless. But behind the smiles and inspiring music, heartbreaking moments have quietly unfolded over the years. From painful losses within the gospel community to emotional personal struggles, recent tragic updates have left many longtime fans deeply concerned. Now, people everywhere are asking the same question. What really happened behind the scenes, and how has Bill Gaither handled the heartbreaking challenges surrounding his life lately? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. A message that shook the gospel music world. Fans of gospel music around the world were left stunned and emotional after Gloria Gaither, the wife of legendary singer and songwriter Bill Gaither, shared a heartfelt update about their family's difficult season. In a deeply personal message posted online, Gloria revealed that Bill had been hospitalized following health issues that had quietly affected him for several months. She explained that his condition was being carefully managed and that he was receiving the medical care he needed. Still, she admitted that it had been a painful and exhausting time for their family. Gloria shared that even people with strong faith sometimes needed time to rest, recover, and heal. Her words touched many longtime fans who had followed the Gaithers' journey for decades. As soon as the message appeared online, thousands of supporters responded with prayers, kind words, and emotional messages. Many said the Gaithers' music had helped them through some of the darkest moments of their lives, and now they wanted to return that same love and support. For years, Bill Gaither had been one of the most respected voices in gospel music. News of his health struggle deeply saddened fans, but it also brought people together in faith and hope. The Gaither family never asked for sympathy. They simply asked to be remembered in prayer. And through it all, many believers continued to hold on to hope that Bill would overcome this difficult chapter with the strength of faith, family, and the music that had touched so many hearts. From one heartbreaking news to another, what came next? Let's find out. A tragedy that left the gospel community heartbroken. In 2024, the world of gospel music was shaken by a tragedy that left fans, friends, and fellow artists in deep shock. Several members of the beloved gospel family group, the Nelons, lost their lives in a devastating plane crash while traveling to join the Gaither homecoming cruise to Alaska. Among those assassinated were Jason Clark, Kelly Nelon Clark, and their daughter, Amber Kistler. Amber's husband, Nathan Kistler, also lost his life in the crash, along with the family's assistant, Melody Hodges, pilot Larry Haney, and his wife, Melissa Haney. In total, 7 people were assassinated. The crash happened on a Friday afternoon in a remote area north of Gillette, Wyoming. According to local officials, the aircraft went down around 1 p.m., and the impact sparked a wildfire in the area. Early reports later shared by the National Transportation Safety Board suggested that the plane may have experienced an autopilot issue during the flight. Investigators were sent to the crash site, though officials explained that the final report on what caused the accident could take up to 2 years to complete. News of the tragedy spread quickly throughout the Christian music world. On social media, the Gaither Management Group shared an emotional statement describing the Nelons as one of the most loved gospel music families in America. The message confirmed that the group had been on their way to join the Gaither homecoming cruise when the heartbreaking accident happened. For many fans, the loss felt personal. The Nelons had spent decades sharing messages of hope, faith, and healing through their music. Their voices had become part of countless church services, gospel concerts, and family memories across America. The only immediate family member not on the plane was Autumn Nelon Streetman, the youngest daughter of Jason and Kelly Clark. After learning about the crash while in Seattle, she was taken to a hotel where artists and friends had gathered with Bill Gaither and Gloria Gaither. Together, they prayed, sang hymns, and comforted one another as they struggled to process the terrible news. In a heartbreaking statement, Autumn thanked supporters for the prayers already being sent to her, her husband Jamie, and their unborn baby boy. She also asked for continued prayers for both sides of the family as they faced the painful days ahead. The tragedy hit especially hard because of the Nealons' long history in gospel music. The group had originally been formed in the 1970s by Kelly's father, Rex Nealon, who had also been connected to the famous Lefebvre's gospel group. Over the years, the Nealons became one of the most respected names in Southern gospel music. Their impact on Christian music was undeniable. In 2016, they were inducted into the Gospel Music Association Hall of Fame. The group also earned 10 GMA Dove Awards, including honors for Song of the Year and Album of the Year. Their music carried messages of faith during difficult times, which made the tragedy even more painful for those who had followed their journey for years. Kelly Nealon Clark was also known outside of gospel music. She appeared in television productions including the ABC drama Resurrection and reenactments for the crime series Homicide Hunter, Lieutenant Joe Kenda. Throughout her career, she remained deeply connected to gospel music and family ministry. As the Christian music world mourned, many looked toward Bill and Gloria Gaither for strength and guidance. For decades, the Gaithers had brought gospel artists together through concerts, recordings, and ministry events that celebrated faith and unity. Now, in the middle of overwhelming grief, they once again became a source of comfort for hurting friends and family members. The loss of the Nealons became more than just another tragic news story. It became a painful reminder of how quickly life could change, even for people whose music had spent years encouraging others to hold on to faith through hardship. And for many fans, the sorrow surrounding the crash remained tied forever to one of the darkest moments the gospel music community had faced in years. Tragedy left the gospel world shaken. What came next for Gloria? Keep watching to find out. Gloria Gaither's quiet goodbye touched millions. In a recent interview, Bill Gaither spoke openly about his wife's decision to slowly step away from public life. His words carried both love and deep admiration for everything she had given through the years. He explained that Gloria had spent more than 6 decades pouring herself into ministry, music, family, and the church. According to Bill, she had dedicated her life to helping others through her writing and faith, often putting the needs of others ahead of her own. He said he believed the time had finally come for her to rest, enjoy peaceful moments with family, hold her grandchildren close, walk through the garden, and simply listen instead of always being the one speaking to the world. For many fans, hearing those words was emotional. Gloria Gaither had spent years becoming one of the most respected voices in gospel music, not because she chased fame, but because her words felt honest and deeply personal. Their grandchildren, now growing into teenagers and young adults, also shared touching memories about her. Some posted online about how their grandmother had always been the family storyteller, the one who carried a journal everywhere she went, and always seemed to have wisdom ready for every moment. They described her as thoughtful, gentle, curious, and full of grace. When Gloria finally addressed her decision publicly through a simple video message, the emotional response was immediate. Her quiet words about stepping back from public life created a wave of emotion across social media. Thousands of fans flooded YouTube and Facebook with heartfelt comments, sharing stories about how her music and writing had helped them through some of the hardest moments in their lives. One fan wrote that Gloria's songs carried them through cancer treatments. Another shared that they found faith for the first time through the Gaither homecoming videos. Someone else remembered how their mother used to play "Because He Lives" during family birthdays, and after losing her, Gloria's lyrics still helped them feel close to those memories. The response reached far beyond social media. Churches across America and in other countries held special services honoring Gloria's contribution to Christian music. Gospel radio stations aired hour-long tributes celebrating the songs and messages she had written through the years. Some longtime supporters even created emotional tribute videos filled with personal testimonies about how her words had changed their lives. What stood out most was how deeply personal the reaction became. Gloria Gaither had never carried herself like a celebrity. She never seemed distant from ordinary people. Instead, many felt like they truly knew her because her lyrics spoke directly to pain, hope, fear, faith, and healing in such a simple and honest way. To countless listeners, she became the voice that reminded them God was still present during heartbreak. Her songs spoke to people sitting in hospital rooms, grieving at funerals, struggling through financial hardship, or simply trying to hold on to faith during difficult seasons of life. Even now, her music continues to live quietly in places far away from concert stages. In nursing homes, her hymns are still played every day for elderly listeners who grew up with her songs. In prison chapels, inmates continue singing lyrics that offer hope and forgiveness. In family homes, old Gaither albums, worn hymn books, and framed sheet music still hold deep emotional value. As fans slowly accepted that Gloria was stepping away from public appearances, many realized this was not truly a goodbye to her influence. She had not announced the end of her work or her faith. Instead, she simply shared that it was time to slow down, rest more, and speak less. And somehow, even in stepping away from the spotlight, Gloria continued teaching people something important. Her decision reflected the same quiet faith and humility that had shaped her music for decades. So, while fans and loved ones prepared themselves to see less of her on stage, they continued holding tightly to the impact she had already made in their lives. Her legacy was never built on fame or attention. It lived in the lyrics people carried in their hearts, the comfort her songs provided during sorrow, and the faith she helped strengthen in millions of homes around the world. But before Gloria's quiet goodbye, let us go back to the very beginning of how the Gaithers started. The teachers who never expected to change gospel music forever. Long before the world knew Bill Gaither as one of the biggest names in gospel music, he was simply a young English teacher in Alexandria, Indiana. His days were filled with lesson plans, classroom discussions, and stacks of papers waiting to be graded. To students, he was just Mr. Gaither, a teacher who loved literature and carried a quiet passion for music that few could fully see at the time. But even during those early years, something about his life seemed to be moving toward a different direction. What looked like an ordinary teaching career was slowly becoming the beginning of something much larger. That turning point came inside the halls of Alexandria Monroe High School. It was there that Bill met Gloria Gaither, then known as Gloria Sickle, a respected French teacher whose calm presence and intelligence immediately stood out. Gloria was far more than just another teacher. She had studied English, French, and sociology at Anderson University, building a reputation as someone deeply thoughtful and highly educated. But beyond academics, she carried a strong faith and a creative spirit that naturally connected with Bill's own interests. Before long, conversations between them became effortless. They talked about books, faith, education, music, philosophy, and the deeper meaning behind life itself. What began as simple conversations between co-workers slowly grew into something much more meaningful. They discovered they shared many of the same values and dreams. Both believed deeply in the power of words. Both wanted to encourage people, inspire faith, and make a difference in the lives around them. Looking back, it almost seemed as though they were already writing pieces of the same story long before they realized it themselves. In 1962, Bill and Gloria married, beginning not only a life together as husband and wife, but also a partnership that would eventually reshape Christian music for generations. At first, however, life remained simple. Bill continued teaching English while Gloria taught French. During the day, they focused on their students and classroom responsibilities, but in the evenings and on weekends, another side of their lives quietly grew. They spent late nights writing songs together, often sitting at the kitchen table after long workdays. Sometimes ideas came after school events. Other times, inspiration arrived during quiet moments at home. Music slowly became woven into their everyday lives. Balancing teaching and songwriting was not always easy, but it felt meaningful to both of them. In many ways, the classroom and music ministry shared the same purpose in their hearts. Both were about reaching people, offering hope, and helping shape lives. Then came the moment that changed everything. In 1964, Bill wrote the song, "He Touched Me." What started as another piece of music quickly became something far greater. The song connected deeply with listeners and spread rapidly through churches and gospel communities across the country. It was more than just a gospel song. It felt personal to people. Its message of faith, healing, and transformation touched hearts in a powerful way. Suddenly, the music Bill and Gloria had been creating in quiet moments no longer belonged only to small gatherings or local churches. The success of "He Touched Me" made it clear that something extraordinary was happening. What had once seemed like a side passion was beginning to feel more like a calling. By 1967, Bill faced a decision that carried enormous risk. He chose to leave behind the security and stability of teaching to pursue music and ministry full-time. It was not an easy step. Teaching provided certainty, while music offered no guarantees. Still, he believed the path unfolding before him was one he could no longer ignore. Soon after, Gloria followed him into that new chapter. Together, they stepped away from classrooms and into a life centered around gospel music, ministry, and songwriting. Chalkboards were replaced with microphones. Lesson plans turned into concert schedules. Small school hallways gave way to stages filled with audiences searching for hope and encouragement. And without fully realizing it at the time, the two teachers from Indiana had begun building a legacy that would eventually touch millions of lives around the world. From classrooms to songs, how did their faith-filled journey grow? Stay tuned to find out. The songs that became the soundtrack of faith. As Bill Gaither and Gloria Gaither stepped fully into gospel music, their journey quickly began to grow beyond anything they could have imagined. Alongside Bill's brother, Danny Gaither, they formed the Bill Gaither Trio, a group that soon became one of the most recognized names in Christian music. What followed was a non-stop season of concerts, recordings, and ministry opportunities. Bill Gaither and Gloria Gaither built a growing audience because their performances felt more personal than ordinary concerts. Their music blended faith, struggle, hope, and healing in ways that deeply connected with listeners. Audiences often laughed, reflected, prayed, and became emotional during performances. Beyond their undeniable musical talent, the heart and honesty behind their songs made people feel understood, turning their music into something that felt comforting, authentic, and deeply human. From those humble beginnings in Indiana classrooms, Bill and Gloria slowly built a ministry that reached churches and homes around the world. Their journey became proof of what could happen when faith, purpose, and partnership worked together in harmony. Over time, their music stopped being tied to one specific generation or moment. Their songs began living far beyond the years they were first written. They became part of people's lives during weddings, funerals, church services, family gatherings, and personal struggles. One of the clearest examples was "Because He Lives." The song was written during a season filled with uncertainty and fear. At the time, the world around them felt unstable, and Bill and Gloria were also preparing for the birth of their son, Ben. Questions about the future weighed heavily on their hearts. But in the middle of that uncertainty came a simple line that would eventually touch millions of people around the world. "Because He lives, I can face tomorrow." That lyric became far more than just part of a song. For countless believers, it became a statement of faith during some of life's hardest moments. The song spread quickly through churches because it carried honesty and reassurance that people desperately needed. It wasn't flashy or complicated. It simply felt true. What began with two teachers writing songs at a kitchen table had slowly grown into a legacy that reached far beyond music itself. Their work became part of the spiritual lives of millions, proving that sometimes the simplest songs leave the deepest impact. What do you think about this heartbreaking news for Bill Gaither? Let us know in the comments section below. In the end, this wasn't just about heartbreaking news surrounding Bill Gaither and his family. It became a story of faith, resilience, and a legacy built through decades of music and ministry. Through every joy and every hardship, Bill and Gloria Gaither gave the world songs that continue to bring comfort and hope. And even in difficult times, that legacy still speaks louder than any tragedy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more untold stories.